assume your character gets sick from drinking dirt and nasty blood. You don't know where those scavengers have been, so don't stick their blood in your mouth raw. That's gross. To make sure you can have a nice, refreshing scavenger cola, you need to take that freshly squeezed blood juice and drop it off in a blood purifier back at your base. These nifty devices remove all the gross scavenger bits and leave you with pure distilled water. It will then drop the water into whichever water circuit you have specified. This is where you can also add water storage devices to increase the amount of water your base can hold. Again, the higher the tier, the more water the storage container will hold for you. It is important to note that on Arrakis, just about anything that moves and is not made of metal is probably made of water and can be used as such. Heck, they even have a scanner that specifically looks for water later on, and guess what? You and your buddies are water too. As you progress further, you can set up your base to produce some of its own water over time for you. Wind traps are passive water incomes that require a decent chunk of power and water filters to work. Water filters are relatively cheap once you can make them, so as long as you have extra power and filter material sitting around, these can be a nifty supplement to your active water collection. Or you can be lazy and just log off and let those wind traps do all the work overnight. Up to you, I guess. Now, if you're okay with active water farming, there is a far faster water farming solution than wind traps and sucking the blood out of every scavenger this side of the basin like an oversized mosquito with an assault rifle. Though I guess this still is a kind of sucking the blood out of nearly every sap who happens to pull a gun on you, but still. After completing the 8 trial missions, the Fremen Death Still will become available. This little marvel of engineering allows you to deposit an entire body into the machine, and after an hour it'll spit out an astronomical amount of water. 25,000 for a basic Death Still, and 45,000 for the advanced version. Once you unlock these devices, you become capable of turning enemy corpses into body bags to drag back to your base like some sort of deranged water butcher. Do note though that if you use a blood extractor on a body, you can't collect the body again for more water. These bodies are also extremely heavy, which makes sense. It's a person full of water, so you can usually only carry one at a time in your inventory unless it's extremely empty. As such, you'll certainly want a vehicle to get any amount of water meat back to your little butcher shop. You'll also need to make sure your base is capable of holding all that water before starting the machine, as it cannot start unless there is room. However, you can still start the Death Still if there is room when you start it, but won't be enough room later. The water should sit in the still waiting for room to be made at that point. If you want to be ridiculously water efficient for no good reason, I guess you could start some bodies and store a bunch of water to keep them all from depositing their water in until you use some up. An additional minor source of water is them fancy Fremen still suits. These turn your waste back into water. Delicious. Just make sure you listen to your Fremen friend and don't mix up the tubes or you're gonna have a bad time. These suits also slow down the water loss depending on tier suit and how hot the sun is. Finally, there are often water storage containers in labs and bases that you can ransack. Some labs have large amounts of water stowed in them that you can carry away with you, as long as you have a big enough liter gun or bladder. However, compared to the Death Still, this is just a bonus to whatever other material you're after when you raided the base. Now, why would any person need enough water to fill an Olympic swimming pool stowed away in their base? I probably have enough water stowed to keep me hydrated for the next year. However, starting with the iron tier, crafting resources requires water as one of the resources to refine those raw materials and even make the end product. When you're refining a fat stack of aluminum and then turning around and making that into a fat stack of duraluminum, the water cost can be pretty crazy. With spice and plastinium refining, it goes up even more. As such, you're going to want a couple of swimming pools hidden away in containers in your base to keep your facilities running. So make sure you have that creepy and massive stockpile of water meat stowed away in one of your chests for your buddy to awkwardly stumble onto. So now you know the basics to water management on Arrakis and Dune Awakening. At least, as of now. I guess at some point they'll probably add more mechanics. This will be out of date. Thanks for watching Butch's Survival Guide to Surviving on Arrakis, Episode 2, Water Management. Want some more Dune Awakening? Make sure to subscribe and check out the videos below. Also, Butch is always open to answering viewer questions to the best of his ability.